Hi guys, this is Tina with Everyday Home with Tina, and today I'm sharing a macaroni and cheese recipe with you. It's some of the creamiest macaroni and cheese you've ever tasted. Keep watching and I'll show you how to make it. The ingredients for this recipe is butter, cottage cheese, milk. Now, you need to use the full versions, not the skim versions of these items. Macaroni and cheese is a rich side and savory. So, it's not, this particular recipe is not for once a week. This is a special holiday version of the recipe. So, you're going to have ground mustard. The recipe calls for cayenne pepper, but I didn't have any, so I'm using a couple of drops of hot sauce. We're gonna have the recipe calls for fresh ground nutmeg, but I have the one in the little container. Nutmeg, I have the one in a little container. We're gonna use salt, a half teaspoon, and a quarter teaspoon of pepper. That is very important. Okay, we're going to use either sharp or cheddar cheese as a pound of it, and it's very important that you grate this cheese. Do not use a store-bought shredded cheese. Store-bought shredded cheese has something in it so that it will not clump. So if you bake it with that, it's going to taste a little gritty. The elbows that we're using, the elbow macaroni, you're not going to use a full box of this. This is only for half a pound. This precise box is a pound, but we're going to use a half a pound. We're going to mix everything up in this bowl, and then we're gonna put it in a greased baking pan. Again, these are the items that we're gonna be using. So remember, we're gonna grate the cheese and we're gonna set it aside. Okay, what we're gonna do also, the milk, the cottage cheese, and and the seasonings, we're going to put in a blender and we're going to mix those items together. We want to make sure the blender has a pulse button on it that you can pulse it in the event that you need to get to the bottom if something sticks together. So we want to make sure that that occurs. Now we're going to take this grater and we're going to grate the cheese. We want to make sure that we grate the entire box. I leave the plastic on the cheese until it gets to a certain level, and then I'm going to take it off because I don't want to, I want to make sure that I don't grate my fingers, so I'm leaving the plastic on there until I get to a certain level. Okay, so this is what the cheese looks like after it's grated. We're going to set it aside. We're going to take out maybe like a quarter of a cup of this because we're going to top the macaronis with a quarter of a cup of the cheese. So now we want to do is to set our oven to 375. Okay, so now that we have greased the baking pan, this baking pan is a 9 by 9 or 8.5 by 8.5. And we've already, we're getting ready to put everything in the blender and blend the milk, the seasonings, and the cottage cheese. Don't forget to put a couple of drops of the Louisiana Red Hot since I don't have any cayenne pepper. And this is half a pound of the macaroni. Now that the mixture have been blended in the blender, we're going to take the macaronis, which is equal to 2 cups, and we're going to mix the macaronis. We're going to pour the mixture over into a bowl with the macaronis, and we're going to mix it along with the cheese. We're going to mix all of that up. Don't forget to take a quarter of the cheese out so that you can top it with the macaroni. So now we're just mixing everything, making sure that everything is good and mixed. Now this is creamy macaroni and cheese, so you want to make sure that you have that is loose, so that when you cook it, it won't be dry. So if you're gonna put this in this greased pan, you're gonna cover it with aluminum foil and cook it for 30 minutes. So let's put it in the greased pan. Make sure we get everything out of it. So this is what the bowl looks like if you've taken everything out of it. And we're gonna cover it with aluminum foil and put it in the oven. After 30 minutes in the oven, you want to remove the casserole dish, the macaroni and cheese. After removing, you want to take off the aluminum foil and start mixing it up. You want to mix it real good. At this particular point, you want to make sure that when you take it out of the oven that you have something to hold it with, because it is hot. But at this particular moment, you can tell whether or not you're going to need more liquid or if it's fine as it is, depending on how quickly your stove cooks. The best thing about this macaroni and cheese that I forgot to say in the beginning is that this is a no-boil macaroni and cheese. You don't have to boil the noodles first. That's the reason why you're using so much liquid, because the liquid is going to cook the macaronis in the oven. So make sure that you stir it very well. Okay, once you feel like you have stirred it good enough, then you want to get the remaining cheese and top the macaronis with the remaining cheese. Okay, after you do that, you want to place it back in the oven for about 30 minutes. It really depends on how quickly your oven cooks. And you will have a beautiful, delicious dish of macaroni and cheese. This dish is so delicious, and it smells so good. With the crust of cheese on top, I can't wait. So I want to thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me, how often do you eat macaroni and cheese? Is it one of your favorite dishes? Please comment below.